So I can't believe these AFL rumours have actually become true. Again, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I think it was about a month or so ago, maybe not even that long, but SEN basically brought up a little list of players, that, Sydney Swans could actually go on target. And the reason they did that is because they believe the Sydney Swans actually have quite a big amount of cap, and they're kind of just throwing around ideas to teams, seeing if this player will be available, seeing if that player will be available, whatever it might be. And one of the players that was actually on the list of, players of Sydney Swans, I guess, could maybe target and just throw their hat in the ring and see if they can get any luck with maybe trying to persuade them to come to the team, was, of course, Charlie Curnow. I think, we all heard that name and no one really thought anything of it. I talked about it in a video saying that even though shit has kind of hit the fan with Carlton and they are in a terrible spot right now, like one of the worst spots in the AFL, but you don't need me to say that. I think every freaking AFL journo has talked about it. At the end of the day, there's going to be a player or two that may be getting traded. Again, we didn't probably think it was going to be Charlie Curnow, but there has been it's been a shocking revelation, to say the least, of a bunch of Charlie Curnow news in the last literal day at the time making this video has come out, and it's all been crazy. Again, the first one that we of course heard was a massive story that Charlie Curnow would actually be open to going and playing for the Gold Coast Suns, which was being reported by arguably the biggest reporter in the AFL right now, Tom Morris, with him saying that Blues have actually told Curnow he's not for sale, as the star is open to a Gold Coast move. Again, the rumours and theories have all been coming out. Other AFL media pages have all been talking about it. Again, some even going as far as saying that Gold Coast have actually been in contact with his management for a little bit now, ever since the Carlton season really started unraveling. But the news of him actually being interested in leaving has only just come out now. And it's not just the Gold Coast Suns. Even though the Gold Coast Suns seem to be the heavy favourite as a team who will look at him, it's also being revealed as well that Charlie Curnow is also open to a potential move to Sydney or Geelong. And this is being reported by Cal Toomey. Now, there are a lot of reasons apparently why Charlie Curnow is actually interested in moving. And the first and foremost one is there's a big word going around town right now saying that Charlie Curnow actually wants to go and play, in a little bit of a, how do I describe it? A little bit of a less focused footy environment. He doesn't want to constantly be in a city that is, constantly on the news to do with footy, in the papers to do with footy, basically just in the media to do with footy. Again, that basically means no Melbourne, no Perth, no Adelaide. Shit, even in Tasmania, you probably couldn't go there if you're Charlie Curnow without being on some fucking local newspaper to a town with 10 people. I don't know. But at the end of the day, the reason this is happening is because Carlton have been under some of the most scrutiny I have ever seen. I mean, we got to remember that Carlton 3 years ago were said that they were going to be, a team that is not only going to contend for a premiership, but will probably be contending for the next 5+ years. Again, they only had 1 year where I think, they made the prelim. They had last year, which was not that great, but they still made the finals. And then this year, it was being said by multiple different people in the media that this is the year that they could go on to win the premiership. And there were even journalists in the media who were tipping them to win the flag. But as we know, not only has that not happened, but they are so far off the 8 and their depth looks absolutely terrible. One of the worst depth teams, I think, in the AFL at the moment. A lot of their players have really regressed, and there's just holes everywhere you look on the team. You got the coach who probably, I don't think he'll be there next year personally. A lot of the assistant coaches will probably change. The whole entire board doesn't seem to be agreeing with each other from other reports. All of the above shit has completely hit the fan at Carlton, and it's probably not going to be getting better for a little bit, especially with Tom DeConing, their best player, leaving, in this free agency and trade period. Again, they've got a couple other guys who are still unsigned here and there, and they don't even have their first round pick in the draft. Again, really big disaster right now at Carlton, and this has been headlined everywhere in all the papers and all the media. Players like Charlie Curnow, who have really not put a foot wrong in their career, have been under immense amount of scrutiny. Again, he also plays for one of the biggest clubs in the AFL, and they often get booed off by their own fans when they have a disappointing loss. Again, to say the least, Charlie Curnow has absolutely had enough, it seems, and he doesn't want to be in this environment anymore where his face is constantly in the paper and every single little thing he does. Like, if this guy went to go and take a shit in the freaking public toilet in St Kilda, it would be probably on the news just because he's him and he plays for one of the biggest clubs in the AFL. Again, that seems to be what is completely driving this massive interest to maybe go play elsewhere. Now, out of those three teams that I just mentioned, I don't really know how Geelong makes too much sense, because Geelong are just, they're footy crazy. They are, again, one of the biggest clubs in the AFL too. You'll be constantly be in the media if you play for Geelong still. Again, to a lesser extent of Richmond, Collingwood and Carlton probably, but you'll still be in the media a fair bit of time if you were him. Not just that though, I don't know how Geelong would even have the assets to do it. I don't even know. I don't even want to get me started on Geelong, because if he goes to Geelong, holy shit, that would be absolutely crazy. Him and Jeremy Cameron together, goddamn, what the fuck? Can we not let that happen, please? What is going on? But again, you look outside of Geelong, and then you got the less, I think, footy-focused cities in Sydney and Gold Coast. Now, Sydney is a little bit of a different one. You're not going to be in the media definitely near as much as what you would be if you played for a Melbourne team. But I think the cool part about Sydney is that they still bring in like 40 to 50k most games, you know, especially when they're on and they're contending. They also are looking dramatically for a key forward really bad. They've also got a lot of salary cap now, because I think over the years now, a lot of their players really start to expire, go on, you know, not as big contracts, and really they're not really paying too many guys outside of Heaney. I think Goulden and Warner, maybe a couple others. They've definitely got the salary cap room from what we've heard. They've definitely got the assets as well. They will be really going for him, and they were originally the first club that was mentioned in this random merry-go-round of news like a month ago. So they will be the first club. And then again, Gold Coast, I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you want to play for the Gold Coast Suns right now? When you think about it, Gold Coast are a team who has arguably the brightest future in the game. They've got arguably the best coach in the game. And realistic thing is, they're going to make the 8, I believe, for the first time this year. And if you added Charlie Curnow to that team, I think that probably makes them almost, I think, a premiership team. Like, when you realistically think about it, having Ben King as your full forward, Charlie Curnow would probably become more of a high half forward on this team. Would be absolutely insane duo. Having Jed Walter back there, you know, I think Ethan Reid will probably eventually take over from Jared Witt, so I don't think they'll be too scared of not playing him and letting him develop for a couple of years, but he'll always come in maybe if a key forward went down with an injury. Again, having those 4 key forwards would be absolutely insane. I'd only assume 3 would play, but yeah, that team would be crazy. Gold Coast, realistically, I wouldn't even be surprised if at the end of this year, they just, like, if Charlie Curnow was available and he does want to go to Gold Coast, like we said, again, they have to get their 2 top 10 picks, you know, through the academy, whatever it might be. Wouldn't be surprised if they just traded every pick from next year, put them into this year's trade period, went for Curnow and got their 2 top 10 academy guys, just balls to the wall, going in absolutely as hard as they can. And I mean, yeah, it would be insane. I mean, the fact is that Damon Hardwick would have Ben King, Jed Walter, and Charlie Curnow all in the same forward line. I mean, how do you stop that? Like, you don't. If you don't stop that, that would be so crazy. Now, do I think Carlton will trade Charlie Curnow and any of this will happen? Probably not. Do I believe Charlie Curnow wants to leave Carlton? Yes, I do. I mean, as I said, there's not really any reason to want to play for Carlton right now. They're going to be starting a new rebuild, I believe, and you know, sometimes teams can bounce back to what's happened to Carlton this year, but with their major depth issues and concerns, I don't see that happening whatsoever. So, realistic thing is, I think Charlie Curnow will want to leave. They probably won't trade him. Should they trade him? I mean, I think it depends if you're a denier or if you're, you know, a realist. I think if you're a realist, you probably know that this team isn't going anywhere and you need to start a rebuild. You trade him to get, you know, started a year early. Or you would, I guess, keep him on, try and fix this thing, which, I mean, I just don't think it's going to happen. Saad is nowhere near the player he was. Doherty's nowhere near the player he was, and he's retiring. Sam Walsh, I also believe he'll probably move on next year to Geelong. I mean, he's a Geelong boy. They have major interest. They've got good money, apparently, somehow. Yeah, I think that one will probably happen. You're relying on Jagger to do a lot when he comes back from his knee injury. Cripps will be, what, 31 next year, 32. I don't even freaking know. I think it's 31. And they still have no forward in sight. Mackay sucks, and De Koning's leaving the team. And Pittness are not very good. So, lot of issues right now with the Carlton Football Club. Again, I'd very much like to hear all your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. Should Carlton trade Charlie Curnow? Do you guys agree with Gold Coast, Geelong, and, you know, who was the other one? Sydney being interested in him? All of the above. What is going on there? I don't even know, man. Again, don't forget to leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel for all those AFL content news. My gaming/movie channel, which will be linked down below as well. And I guess I'll be seeing you guys next time. Goodbye.